always, step 12 is having had a spiritual awakening. As a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. I'm going to read the first part of that, and then we'll move on, because a lot of you are probably sitting here right now. You don't believe there's such thing as a spiritual awakening. You don't believe you can have one, and you don't know what it is if you did have one. But I'm going to give you a little example here of what it is. It may not be what you think it is. And this is Bill wrote in 12 Steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. The joy of living is the theme of AA's 12 step, and action is the key word. Here we turn we turn toward our fellow alcoholics who are still in distress. Here we experience the kinds of giving and ask no rewards. Here we begin to practice all 12 steps of the program in our daily lives, so that we and those about us find emotional sobriety or emotional intelligence. If anybody y'all familiar with that or whatever. Anyway, so that's the deal. When the 12th step is seen in full implication, it's really talking about the kind of love that has no price tag on it. You've heard people talk about in program unconditional love. Means there's no condition on it. You either love somebody or you don't. Our 12th step also says that as a result of practicing all 12 steps, we have found something called a spiritual awakening. And I don't mean just believing in God. Believe it, there's much more to it than just saying you believe in God, because you may believe in God and do like Bill talks about in the books. I just use an indicator when there's a pinch hitter. When you're in trouble, your ass is on fire, you say, oh, please help. And then as soon as you get the help, if you do or you don't, then you forget about God instantly, you know. So anyway, the new AA, this often seems like a very dubious and improbable state of affairs. What do you mean when you talk about a spiritual awakening, they ask? Maybe there's as many definitions of a spiritual awakening as there are people who've had them. But certainly each genuine one has something in common with all the others. And these things which they have in common are not too hard to understand. When a man or a woman has a spiritual awakening, the most important meaning of it is that he's now become able to do, feel, and believe that which he could not do before on his unaided strength and resources alone. Probably we've always lived alone, and we've been isolated, and that's the reason we turned out to be what we were, alcoholics and drug addicts. That's where you didn't need anything but the drugs. People, God, the world, society, you didn't want to have anything to do with. He has granted a gift which amounts to a new state of consciousness and being. Does anybody know what consciousness is? Not really. But you may think you do. But anyway, there's a lot of studies going on out there today where people think they know what consciousness is. But anyway, you can investigate that on your own. He's been set on a path, and I've heard some people say this in here since they've gotten sober, the way they feel about things. He's been set on a path which tells him he's really going somewhere, that life is not a dead end. Not something to be endured or mastered. It is a very real sense that a man has been transformed. You know what transformed means? Maybe. Because he has laid hold of a source of strength which one way or another, or one way or another, he had hereto, you know how they spoke back in those days, he had hereto denied himself. He finds himself in the possession of a degree, and this is really going to flip you out, of honesty, tolerance, unselfishness, peace of mind, and love, which he had thought himself quite incapable. What he had received is a free gift, and usually, at least in some small part, he's made himself ready to receive it. AA's manner of making ready to receive this gift lies in the practice of 12 steps in a program. So let's consider briefly what we've been trying to do at this point. And then it goes to make an overview of the 12 steps. And y'all, you know, I've asked y'all to read this. 107, it's an overview. It's about a page or a page and a half. It tells you pretty much why you did a step. And y'all welcome to read that. It's a little lengthy for right now. But anyway, concentrate on and hoping and believing that you can have a spiritual awakening because it's all inclusive to everyone that works the steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. And that's all I got.
Thank you, Larry.
Thanks, Larry.